Welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm going to continue looking at approximation and estimation. In today's video, I'm going to bring up a wonderful topic, which is rounding off decimals. Rounding off decimals. So just like we follow certain rules when rounding off different numbers, these are the same rules we're going to follow in rounding off decimal numbers. So a reminder of the rules. So let's look at the rules. Let me remind you about the rules we follow. The first rule we follow when rounding off numbers is add 1 to the rounding digit if the next number is equal to or greater than 5. Add 1 to rounding digit if the next number is equal to or greater than 5. This is the first rule we follow. Okay, the next rule is do nothing to it if the next number is less than 5. So do nothing to the rounding digit if the next number is less than 5. In other words, we are saying add 0 to the rounding digit if the number is less than 5. Okay, now let's go into rounding off decimal numbers. So okay, let me write the questions. Okay, so these are the 4 questions we have. So let's start with question 1. Round off 23.035 to 2 decimal places. Round off 23.035 to 2 decimal places. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to rewrite this number down like that. Once I've done that, then I'm going to identify the number which occupies the second decimal place. That will be my rounding digit. Okay, so in this number, the number that occupies the second decimal place is 3. So 3 will be my rounding digit. So now what is the next number? The next number we have is 5. Okay, so that means when we are rounding off 3, we will round it up to 4 because we are going to add 1 to 3. So before I do that, let me write the numbers that are not affected. We have got 23.0. Okay, I've written 0. Why? Because I've seen that the next number after 0 or the rounding digit is 3 and not 9. If it was 9, I couldn't have written 0 because I know that 0 will be affected because the number is 9. When we add 1 to 9 will give us 10, which will take 1 to where there is 0. So since it's not 9, it's less than 9, then I'm going to write 0. But if it's 9, you don't need to write 0 yet because it will be affected. Okay, so once I've done that, now let's come to the question, the number in the question, that number which is 23.035. Okay, so that number we are saying we are rounding 3. We are rounding off 3. That means when rounding off 3, we are going to add 1 to 3. Why? Because the next number is equal to 5. It's 5, so it's equal to 5. So we are going to add 1 to 3. So 3 plus 1 will give us 4. That will write that side. So rounding off 23.035 to 2 decimal places will give us 23.04. Okay, let's go to question number 2. Round off 123.54 to 1 decimal place. Round off 123.54 to 1 decimal place. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite that number down. Okay, let me just, okay, I'm going to write it like that. Then we asked to round off 123.54 to 1 decimal place. That means we're rounding of 5, that is the number which occupies the first decimal place. That is the number that occupies the first decimal place. So we are going to round off that number. So meaning we are going to be considerate of the next number, which is 4. The next number, we're talking about the next number which is on the right side. So the next number on the right side, which is 4. Okay, so that's the number we are going to consider. So when we look at 4, 4 is less than 5. That means we are going to use the second rule, which says do nothing to it if the next number is less than 5. So we will do nothing to 5 because the next number is less than 5. Now before I do that, let me write the numbers that we won't get affected. So I'm going to write 23 point. Why 23 point? Because 5 is not equal to 9. If where there is 5 there was 9, then I couldn't have written 3, because I could have, okay, it could have been that if we add 1 to 9 it will be 10, then the other one will go to 3. Now since it's 5, even if we add 1, that means the answer will always be, will either be 6. Yeah, if we add 1, the answer will be 6. So that's why I've written 3 in advance, because there was no number will be carried to 3. So once we have done that, the next thing we're going to do is now, as I said earlier on, we use the second rule. So we'll concentrate on this question, the numbers in the question. So now let's look at the next number is 4. So the second rule says we do nothing to 5, or we add 0 to 5. Okay, so that means when we add 0 to 5, it will be 5. And when we do nothing to 5, 5 will remain 5. So which means that number will be 5. So rounding off 123.54 to 1 decimal place will give us 123.5. Okay, if you have questions, you can write them in the comment section. We'll be glad to respond to your questions. Let's go to question 3. Question 3 is round off 43.5671 to 3 decimal places. Round off 43.5671 to 3 decimal places. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite this number in question. Okay, once I've written this number in question, then we are going to identify the number that occupies the third decimal place, Okay, so the number that occupies the third decimal place is 7. So that is the number we're going to round off. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite the numbers that won't get affected. So just like I said earlier on, 7 is not greater than 9, or is not equal to 9, whereby when you add 7 will give us something like 10, then 6 will get affected. So since when we add 1 to 7, it will just be 8. So there will be no number which will be carried to 6. So once I've done that, the next thing now, I'll concentrate on the numbers in the question, the ones I've underlined. So we are rounding off 7. So what is the next number to 7? On the right side, we have got 1. So now let's go to the rules. The rule number 1 says add 1 to the rounding digit if the next number is equal to or greater than 5. The second number is saying, the second rule is saying do nothing to it if the next number is less than 5. Now we can see that 1 is less than 5, so that means we'll do nothing to 7, or we add 0 to 7, which will give us 7. So rounding off this number to 3 decimal place will give us 43.567. Okay, we have rounded off this number to 3 decimal places, because 1 is the number which is at the end and is less than 5, so we have done nothing to 7, or we have added 0 to 7. So rounding off 43.5671 to 3 decimal places will give us 43.567. Okay, now let's go to question 4. Okay, if you have questions, please write in the comment section. We will be glad to respond to you. Question 4. Round off 658.567 to the nearest unit. Okay, round off 658.567 to the nearest unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the number down here. Now remember, when you are asked to round off a decimal number to the nearest unit, what they are asking you to do is to give an answer which has no decimal place. Okay, to give an answer which has a 0 decimal place, which has no decimal place. Right? If I say a 0 decimal place, it might be confusing. It might be like you have an answer which has like here I've got 558.0. That's not what I mean. I mean the number shouldn't have a decimal place. Okay, so when rounding off a number to a nearest unit, a decimal number to a nearest unit, that means they are telling you to get rid of the decimal places. Okay, so that is the case in this question. So what we're going to do is we are going to round off 8. Okay, then the next number to 8, which is on the right side, is 5. Okay, so I'm going to write the numbers that are not going to get affected. As you can see there, we have 8 and not 9, so which means 65. 65 will be written. Okay, 65 will be written. Then we are going to round off 8. Now the next number is 5. That means we're going to use the first rule which says add 1 to the rounding digit if the next number is equal to or greater than 5. So we're going to add 1 to 8. So we're going to say 1 plus 8 will give us 9. Okay, that is the number we are looking at, the one I've underlined in orange. Then when we add 8 plus 1 will give us 9. So rounding off 658 to, rounding off 658.567 to a nearest unit will give us 659. Okay, so give us 659. Okay, that is the answer. Thank you so much for watching. It has been easy learning Z Mathematics. The future is bright. See you in the next video. God bless you.